What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another episode of the Moviegoers live show, episode 46. Haven't done one in a while, so let's bring it back. And I have a very special guest tonight, first timer on the channel, and also pretty new to the YouTube game as well. She has been around for a few months, yeah, I figured it was time to bring her here. Please welcome my friend Jenabeth, aka Real Talk with Jenabeth. How are you doing today, my friend?
I am doing good. Thanks for inviting me to be on your live stream. Luke, you are making history. That this is like my first collab with another content creator. And I say that, it's like it's not like I have a large following because like Luke said, I'm just getting started. But this was the first kind of content piece. I was like, hey, like we should do something together. And I was like, oh yeah, that's great. So anyways, thanks Luke for inviting me to be part of your live stream.
Of course. Very happy to have you here. And also, if you guys are not subscribed to her channel, her link is in the description below. So please go subscribe to her channel and give her some love because she deserves it. And yeah, she does a lot of movie reviews. Also, Marvel fan, I can definitely tell. She reviewed the Daredevil stuff. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Captain America, Thunderbolts. I mean, I definitely see the love there, my friend. I definitely can see it.
Yes. So, Luke, are you, in terms of where you lean, maybe for film, right? Because with comic books, it's one of the things. Are you more of a Marvel fan or DC fan when it comes to the films?
Oh, you're stumping me already. But I think honestly, probably Marvel because they have more films that I tend to rewatch more. Mm-hmm. But if we're thinking like, DC, I think of something like, the Suicide Squad or the Batman. Like those are like my go-tos or mm-hmm. the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. Like those are like the go-tos for me.
Right.
But when it comes to like Marvel, you think of like Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avengers movies, the first 3 Captain America movies, to be precise. The first 3. Those are the good ones. Let's see. Definitely my personal favorite, Thor Ragnarok.
Yes. That one's hilarious.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I like those stuff. Like I love Marvel and DC, but as of recently, I've been so burnt out on superhero movies because there's so many coming out, and it's like I need a breather. Like I need something better than that.
I understand. And the thing is with like the summer slate, there's a lot of, there is Superman, there is Fantastic Four, but there's other films that I'm looking forward to for sure. And a lot of them are like IP things. We have Mission Impossible coming out, yes. But then like later on, for example, like we have a remake of The Naked Gun with Liam Neeson and, so, I think we are getting, and like I said, it's with that asterisk of like, well, it's still like a reboot of something, but right. There's some mixes in there that are not just like superhero films. But yeah, I'm kind of with you on that in terms of like Marvel Cinematic Universe and like how those films interconnect together. That's my ultimate favorite. Well, especially when you go back to OG, like the heyday of Marvel, which was like phases 1, 2, and 3. Like it was just an amazing time, and they're still trying to capture that same magic. And we'll see. Like Thunderbolts was, I really enjoyed it. It seems promising, maybe with the Fantastic Four. So we'll see leading up to Avengers Doomsday, like how things shake out. Because I think all of us Marvel fans, it's no secret that we've all kind of been waiting for the same highs that we used to experience watching those films.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't been consistent. Here in Phase 5 with Marvel, we've had some good ones. We've had No Way Home and Deadpool and Wolverine. Guardians 3, but I mean, it hasn't been consistent like as the film have rolled out in these past few phases. So anyways, I'm excited. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a fun summer and also like just to get some surprises. Like, because I think oftentimes when you look at a slate of films that are coming out in a year, the things that pop out to you are usually the things that are franchises or IPs, things you're already familiar with. But you might read a title of something that might be one of your favorite films of the year, but you don't know anything about it. So we'll see if any fun gems come out this summer that it would not be normally on my list. Like, for example, Sinners was not on my slate. I'm not a horror movie person, and it was so good, you know. And it's just like surprises like that are very satisfying.
Absolutely. So, but as far as I go, though, for like movies I'm like super excited for this summer, my most anticipated is Mission Impossible. Like, I'm a massive fan of that franchise.
My gosh, yes.
I love Tom Cruise. And just come on. 2 hours, 50 minutes. Come on. Oh my God. I'm like, can you tell I'm that excited? Like,
yes. Okay. So Luke, well, so for one, and like we can go into this as well, but so Mission Impossible Final Reckoning is my second most anticipated film of the summer. So we're, you know, aligned with that. Like, I mean, it's going to be the highlight of my May for sure.
Oh,
you know,
for sure. Like,
but with that, okay, you know, we've had how many Mission Impossible films have there been now? Is it 6? Now I know.
Not including Final Reckoning, there's been 7.
7. Okay, so out of the ones that have come out so far, because we haven't seen Final Reckoning, which one is ranked number 1 for you in terms of your favorite Mission Impossible film?
Easily Fallout. Like, Fallout is easily the best one. I mean, Dead Reckoning was close, but honestly, like, the one I continuously go back to is Fallout. Like, the action sequences in that film are just nonstop. And I gotta give Tom Cruise, I have to give my man credit where it's due for Tom Cruise. He broke his ankle during that one like building jump scene.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And he kept going, and I was like,
the dude is committed.
I know.
He's committed to the bit of giving us a great cinematic experience.
Absolutely. But let's go ahead and hit the comments here, because you guys are popping up in the chat. So we got V with Drew. What's up, my guy? Thank you so much for being here. Old Restless is in the chat. What's up, dude? Thank you for being here as well. Drew, you are a good man. Good job. Thank you for subbing to our channel.
Drop in the chat what your favorite Mission Impossible movie is so far, as we're leading up to Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Okay, so I'm gonna say my pick, and it might be like controversial for some, but my favorite in terms of the one for me that's the most rewatchable is the 5th installment, which is Ghost Protocol.
Oh wait, that's the 4th one. Ghost Protocol. Sorry,
you were correct.
All good.
4th installment. Yes, 4th. Yeah. So anyway, it's just so many fun moments in that one. And I think that one is directed by Brad Bird. And it's just kind of just, it's the most fun one for me. There's that opening sequence of the prison escape, and I love Tom Cruise hanging off of the Khalifa building, and you know, all of the fun stuff with that. And it also has the most fun gadgets, like with them in the hotel changing the room numbers, and them inside the Kremlin with that like screen changing the background. So it's also got fun gadgets. The cast, the ensemble is a great time for me. So that's the one I'm usually reaching for if I'm going to rewatch one. And it's also the one that if someone had never ever seen a Mission Impossible movie, I'd probably also reach for that one as like, here's like an introduction to it. But I think it's safe to say and like most of us are aware of this, that there's not like a bad Mission Impossible movie. Like, I mean, Mission Impossible 2 is cringe in different ways. It's campy in its ways, but it's not like, when you inherently look at just Hollywood itself, a bad movie. It's the worst maybe of the franchise, maybe most would agree, but it's not inherently bad. So all that being said, I just think Mission Impossible, very consistent franchise in terms of it just being a good time for each one. But I also am a fan of Fallout. That one's a good one.
Definitely. Let's see. Before we kick things off here, I got a couple other ones that I can point out, because there's a lot of ones that I'm looking forward to, but there's like ones that are just like really sticking out to me. Like you already pointed out Naked Gun. That's one of them for me. Because I'm a huge fan of this director. I've been on a kick of rewatching a lot of his films lately. The Phoenician Scheme, the newest film from writer and director Wes Anderson.
Oh.
I'm a massive Wes Anderson fan. So, and I think
what other films has he directed? Because I'm not sure if I've seen them. Perhaps, I don't know.
Let's see. I own most of them. Let's see. There's Isle of Dogs, Moonrise Kingdom, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Most recently, Asteroid City. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting ones there. There's Bottle Rocket. Wes Anderson's got a really interesting filmography and a very specific sense of humor. Like, most of his humor is very, very deadpan. Like,
okay,
it's a lot of deadpan humor. So
yeah,
like I'll give you like an example here, like of like Asteroid City. I don't like the way the guy looked at us, the alien. How did he like we're doomed? Maybe we are. Like, that is so, like, you can tell just by that is absolutely Wes Anderson humor.
Okay, that's cool though. I can't think of a film that I've seen of his. And when it comes to the filmscape, like, there's so many avenues that you can go down. And I think a lot of us know what our taste is. So we obviously gravitate toward our taste. But as many people do, I have like an ongoing list of like movies that are on my list to see. There's a lot of iconic movies that I have not seen that it's like, maybe this summer I'll chip away at it. So
there you go. But yeah, I do want, so like I told you earlier, this is like, I'm also gonna ask you like questions like about film taste, all that kind of stuff. So but also I like asking this question first, because I like hearing the stories as many times as I've asked this question, because I like telling these stories because it just gets it off my chest and I can just look back on it and laugh at it. What has been your worst movie theater experience so far?
Okay, so here's the thing. I've reflected on this question myself, because I've heard this question asked on like a movie podcast or something. And of course, all these people have these stories of like, oh, there were people next to me that were being jerks and annoying and I walked out, or the movie itself was so bad I walked out, or I took a date to it and it was the wrong place to go. All those examples. I don't have a story like that, unfortunately, because I think like any movie that I went to that I paid money to see, I actually just stay till the end. And most of the time, I mean, granted, there's going to be those moments where there's people next to you that are, maybe saying things too loud, like having a conversation sort of as the movie's going on. They're like, what is that? Or I can't believe she did that, or whatever. But it's not for me like enough to be like, that was the absolute worst experience that is like ingrained in my memory. So all that to say, I unfortunately don't have a cool story with that. But do you have any cool stories? And I say cool, it's it's like that double-edged sword of like, well, you have a good story, but it was also not a good experience. Like that you maybe walked out of a theater or something.
I never walk out of movies, to be completely clear. Even if it's a bad movie, I still stay through it because I know
you are committed. Yeah, you're committed.
Like, let me see if I'm trying to think of like a good example of a movie where it's like, it was so fucking bad, but I still stayed through it because I like, I'll say this. I was close. I was really close to walking out, but like to go on that example, I think the one I can think of off the top of my head is Imaginary, the Blumhouse movie about a haunted teddy bear. I'm supposed to be scared of a teddy bear. Really? But once this like supposed like twist is revealed like halfway through, I got up out of my seat and I walked to the corner and I stood there for like 2 minutes because I was like, you did this to me. Like, you did this to me. And I'm serious. Like, just by that point, I almost left because I was like, I can't. Like, I can't. I went back to my seat and I was like, you know what? I'm going to stick this out like a sore thumb. But let's see, another good one with that example is Borderlands.
Oh, yep. Okay, so and I guess for me, like, I'm in a season of my life that I just don't have as much time to watch movies like I did back in like high school and whatnot. So now I'm very selective with what I see. And so whenever Borderlands came out last year, it was just one of those films that like everyone, like movie reviewers that I follow, like everyone was just saying like, it's not good. It's not worth your time. And with that, I was like, I believe you. I'm not going to go spend money at the theater. I'm not going to rent it. I'm not going to spend 2 hours of my life streaming it. I believe you. So I have not seen Borderlands, but I believe the criticism whenever people are saying like, it was a good concept. I see what you were trying to accomplish, but you just totally misfired and fell flat.
It definitely is one of those because I never played the games that it's based on. I know a lot of my friends have played the games, but from what I've heard, these actors that they got to play these characters, they did have potential to be these characters from the games, but it just came off like a dollar store version of Guardians of the Galaxy. And
yeah,
they're absolutely right. It's a dollar store version of Guardians of the Galaxy. But the one person and it breaks my heart to say it because I hate saying it every single time I talk about Borderlands. Jack Black annoyed the living shit out of me.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That I hate saying that because I love Jack Black so much, but every single time he spouted out any word of dialogue as claptrap, I was like, stop, just stop. And just like about like 30 minutes in, I got up from my seat and I almost left because.
That is so funny. Well, so speaking of Jack Black and video game adaptation movies, a movie that I have not seen yet just because it's like, I'll probably just wait till it comes out on streaming is a Minecraft movie. So
I did see that one.
Did you see it? So and I heard that Jack Black is very Jack Black in this movie. I mean he just plays that. I mean it's like his brand, like that over the top Jack Black character. So how did you find it? Like I hear it's not a like bad movie inherently. It's not like really good, but it is an entertaining like watch. So what was your take?
It was definitely not Borderlands bad. I mean, if I looked at it on a critical standpoint, it's a really bad movie. But I looked at it just purely on an entertainment scale because that's a movie where it's like, I can't judge it critically. I just can't. So, but that's the difference though between Borderlands and Minecraft is that Borderlands is just Jack Black just being annoying as fuck. But in a Minecraft movie, Jack Black is just playing Jack Black. But you love him because of how goofy he is in that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the difference right there. That's like Borderlands is trying to make you hate Jack Black. But Minecraft, it's like you still love Jack Black, like for those specific reasons. I mean, But now that you brought up Minecraft, I'm pretty sure you heard, like, you knew all about the news of, like, the theaters just getting trashed because of the chicken jockey meme.
Yes, which
And I'm
is, yeah, unfortunate, because as I don't support that kind of behavior at a movie theater,
I
but
don't either, but at the same time, whenever I watch those videos, I laugh because of how stupid people are with those. Like,
yeah, it's one of those things that, like, I don't know from like a marketing perspective if like, and there's no way that you could plan for this, but in the case of a Minecraft movie, how it just became this like pop culture event with the teenagers going crazy and stuff in there. Like the movie theaters can maybe market certain show times as like, this is the one that you can go crazy and throw popcorn and all this stuff, but then
I,
it would be like purposely like that versus like people doing that and it's just disrespectful to theater employees. So anyways, that's kind of like my main take with that. It's like, I don't want to disrespect the theater employees.
I don't either. Like, because I've seen those videos. Like, I've seen like this one where it's like people were just throwing popcorn all over the place, and it looked like absolute hell. Like, what? Like once it was all done, it looked like absolute hell. So I don't know. I mean, I enjoy Minecraft for what it is because I mean, it's dumb, it's stupid, but you got to be willing to accept that when you watch that movie because you know it's stupid, you know what you're in for. But
Yeah.
it's definitely fun for sure. Let's see. I got a couple more comments in here. Overrated franchise, Prince asks. Ooh, overrated franchise.
I'm gonna have you go first, Luke, because there's some. I mean, I have a list of franchises that I have not seen, which I want to kind of like cover me like watching them on my page now that I started it. But yeah, what's your thoughts on a franchise that's overrated?
This is a good question because there's a lot of franchises I really like, but it has to be like one specific franchise where it's like I don't get it. Like that, like that's like the hardest part about, thinking about this. Like,
So while you're thinking of yours, and granted, I can't. It's not fair for me to make like a full judgment of the whole franchise because I have not seen every single movie of it. But for me, it's the Saw franchise. There's just so
totally get
many
it.
of them, and I can't even remember. I've seen the first Saw movie. I think I've probably seen the first 3 or 4, maybe. Like I think the first 3, but then they just started coming out with so many of them to where and it felt like as each one went on, the quality got like worse. And also as a disclaimer, like I said, I'm not like a huge horror movie person. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go watch the 5th Saw installment because I'm a big horror movie fan kind of thing. But
Yeah.
the first maybe 3 were enticing enough, but then they just started making so many. And then I don't even know how many there are. But yeah, that's one that comes immediately to mind. And I have another one that came to mind, but what is yours that you've maybe thought about?
Okay, I'll say this one for sure. I mean, as great as these movies are, I'm just not the biggest fan of them. I just never see myself watching those a time. The Lord of the Rings movies.
Okay, so Lord of the Rings, I will backtrack on Lord of the Rings because this is a trilogy that I want to cover on my page. So here's the thing. My ex, huge Lord of the Rings fan, which is great, right? So he's like, Jenabeth, I'm gonna introduce you to Lord of the Rings. The first one that he introduces me to is the uncut, like 4-hour something version of the very first film.
Bad idea.
Yes. And safe to say, I don't know what day it was, but I was exhausted that day and I legit fell asleep. It was a long day. I fell asleep, but granted, it was like the uncut version. And the bits and pieces that I remember, I was not that impressed. but I haven't seen the second two, and I fell asleep through the first one. So because I fell asleep through the first one, I'm not going to confidently say, "Oh, I've seen that movie," because I haven't seen like the like theatrical released version. So at some point, I do want to watch those, but it's lower on my list because I'm planning this summer to watch the original Star Wars trilogy from the 70s and 80s. Have not seen like the OG
Ooh,
trilogy.
okay.
And that's higher up on my list compared to Lord of the Rings. So, yeah. So, all that being said, for anybody watching, if you want to see my journey of watching iconic franchises that I've managed to escape in pop culture, then follow me at Real Talk Jenabeth on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and you can follow my journey of like watching these for the first time. But yeah, this summer I'm planning on covering at least the first three. Well, not covering, but at least attempting to watch the OG Star Wars.
Classics right there. I tell you, classics. Let's see. Skylar says Jack Black is Claptrap. That's a tongue twister. Kind of is. My buddy Alex is in here. What's up, buddy? Thank you so much for being here. And my co-host of Movie Fanatics, my live show I do Tuesdays, Michael, is in the chat. What's up, buddy? So but yeah, Lord of the Rings is the one where it's like they're great movies. I totally get that. I don't rewatch them because they're so long.
So even the normal theatrical versions are really long.
The first two films are like close to 3 hours.
Oh, yes.
Return of the King is over 3 hours, and I'm like,
okay,
I have to be in the mood for that. Like the 1 3 hour movie that I can think of personally, where it's like I can rewatch it multiple times and it flies by, is the Batman. Like that movie's almost 3 hours. It flies by every single time I watch it. Like,
yeah, I mean that's how I felt about Endgame and how that was like 3 hours, but it just flew by. So
for sure. But yeah, there's definitely ones where it's like it flies by or it just moves at a snail's pace, because there are ones where there are 3 hour movies where it's like, dial it back. It does not need to be that long. Like, prime example. This I'm just laughing even like as I'm about to say it. I don't think Avatar: The Way of Water needed to be over 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I would agree with you on that. I enjoyed watching it. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's beautiful to look at. But yeah, I can see how it could have been shaved down. But also, whenever James Cameron is like dedicating so much of his life to this project, like of course he's gonna really milk it for each film. So
for sure. But I don't know.
Do you prefer Way of Water over the original Avatar? Like the first one?
I prefer the first one. I'm one of those people that prefers the first one, because the first one feels a bit more evened out, I would say. Like, I mean, yes, it is slow at points and definitely has very derivative plot elements, but it's a bit more evened out when it comes to the pacing.
Right. I feel the same way, and I enjoyed Way of Water, and I think what stands out with that film is it's a bit more of an original story, because in Avatar we've kind of seen it's like a Pocahontas-esque type story.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, it's obviously done with this like big twist that it's on Pandora and it's this whole new world, and we have these Na'vi people. I mean, they did a lot to make that to expand beyond what that trope is of like these people come to take over a world and stuff like that. But I agree, in spite of what might be the tropes of Avatar, I still thoroughly enjoy that movie. So
for sure, I get that. but I also remember like I remember like also when you did your review for Sinners, you're not much of a horror person, and that's I totally get that. Like if you could tell probably by my shirt, I'm trying to give like an obvious way to let you know that I'm a huge horror fan. Like I love horror movies. Um, I can certainly see why there are people that are turned off by horror films for sure. Like if I'm trying to think of like one where it's like I can. Oh yeah, I'm wearing the shirt right now. The Terrifier movies. Those movies go very extreme with blood. So I'm not going to go any further than that. But
okay, so
they're very
Luke,
gory.
As a horror movie, because I said I'm not a horror movie person. What are your two picks for these questions in terms of what's a horror movie that you would recommend for someone that's not a fan of horror? Like they will openly say, I'm not a huge fan of horror, Luke, but what do you recommend that you think I'd like? So I want to hear that pick. The other pick is you are talking to someone that's a horror movie fan, and you as another horror movie fan, you say like you definitely need to see this movie if you have not seen it already as a fellow fan of horror. So what are your two picks for those two types of people?
So for the person that is like not really into horror films, I think like a good one for like beginners, personally speaking for me, would be The Black Phone. Like,
oh, okay. Haven't seen that one. What's the premise? Is that one where it's like all through a phone or something? Like, or
okay.
I'm almost thinking of like Paranormal Activity or something, but
no big deal on that. But no, basically The Black Phone is about a kid who gets kidnapped by a guy named the Grabber, like goes by the name of the Grabber. He was basically a child kidnapper / killer, and then so obviously he's taken down to his basement where he has this disconnected black phone. But every time the phone rings, it's a voice of one of the Grabber's previous victims.
Oh, I think I remember seeing the trailer for this. How it's like, they're like hearing somebody scream or something on the other end. I don't know.
It's definitely creepy, but it's like, but you can also definitely tell like while you watch it, there's like a lot of like, Stephen King kind of vibes of it, because the short story that this movie is based on is from Stephen King's son, Joe Hill. I've read the short story before I saw the movie, and they did a really good job. But I remembered one thing, that they described the original character of the Grabber in the book as fat, but they kind of replaced that with Ethan Hawke because of his voice and kind of mannerisms to match that character, and they did a really freaking good job of that. So, like it's just Ethan Hawke, like in that movie, that makes it worth the watch.
Yeah, he's a great actor, Ethan Hawke,
and he's so unsettling in that movie. He's so creepy, but I love it for those reasons.
What's your pick for a fellow horror movie fan?
Okay, this is the one where it's like you have to watch this if you're a horror film fan and you have not. Like, this would blow my mind for like horror fans that have not seen it, and that's John Carpenter's The Thing. That would blow my mind if like horror fans have not seen it, because that is absolutely one of my favorite horror films of all time.
Is that from like the 1970s?
1982. So it was a few years after he did Halloween.
I have heard of it. So I haven't seen either of those films, as you said. But I like hearing those takes, because it's not like the like cliche. Because I've seen Scream,
There you go, yeah.
Final Destination, So, but it's like, what are some out there that you kind of like what you just listed that may not be the most well known? So.
Oh, well known. Okay. Like John Carpenter's The Thing is a very popular horror film, but I got to think of like one that's like that very much so floats under the radar for a lot of people, because there's a lot of really good ones that could come to my mind, but then again, it's hard to think like right on the spot. Let's see, one that's not like super well known. Okay, I think I might have to go with this one because I know not a lot of my friends have seen this one. This is a I think it's a Korean movie. It's I Saw the Devil.
I've heard of I Saw the Devil. Haven't seen it. Do it.
Again, that movie. Oh my god, that movie. That movie's messed up. I can't describe it any other way. It's messed up. But it's so good. But yeah, thank you for that question though. That was a really good question.
Yeah, I'm always curious whenever I talk to people that just love the horror genre.
I mean, right here. But yeah, you did like you said, you did watch and review Sinners, which phenomenal movie. Like Sinners. I mean, I'm already gonna go. I think I'm gonna go see it again this week before I go see Final Destination. So very excited to finally rewatch it.
Yeah, and I said this in my review of Sinners. What I liked about it was it is a horror movie, but there's so many more elements to it. There's more themes. There's multiple genres in it, with it being a period drama and a gangster story and all these other like things that Ryan Coogler is tackling in that movie. So that's a big reason why I liked it, because it has the horror elements, but it's not like only about that. So
for sure.
One of the people in the chat asked, what movie, Jenabeth, do you consider underrated? So I have like two, and I think there's like probably a lot on my slate that I would consider like, I really like this movie, even though it might get hate. I guess I'll start with kind of the more flashback film in terms of my favorite like old time director with this, which is Alfred Hitchcock. You know, he has lots of films that are super famous, like, you know, Psycho, The Birds, Rear Window, which I love. But my favorite film of his is Vertigo. And yes, and I think it's underrated compared to maybe some other Alfred Hitchcock films. So that one I think is underrated. In terms of just like a little modern girly movie that I think is underrated is Ella Enchanted. That one, like a lot of people are like, oh, it, you know, it got mixed reviews at the time. But and I said this recently in one of my TikTok videos, I think it's one of Anne Hathaway's best roles. And it's just a super fun movie. Like so many like girls in that era of 2004, like what and whatnot, we were like raised on Ella Enchanted and A Cinderella Story. So we are gonna like have these movies in high regard in our minds.
Yes. And thank you on Vertigo for saying that's your favorite Hitchcock, because that's my favorite as well.
Yes, that's amazing. I love that.
I love that movie so much. I know some people would expect us to say something like, you know, Psycho, The Birds, Rear Window, like you said. Vertigo. I have to go Vertigo. Like, it's so damn good. But
yeah, it's one of those plots too that like it's hard to explain to people because you don't want to spoil it. Because I watched this film whenever I was in high school, and for one, I think it was like put out in 1958, and it does not look like it. Like it's aged so well, and it's like it tackles a lot of mature themes for like a 1950s movie, and there's like a twist in there that I was like, what? That's that? And you know, so there was essentially two things in that movie that I didn't see coming. Which, you know, I feel like sometimes those older movies are pretty predictable, but that one I was like not seeing it coming. So anyways, and it's also just a good character study type movie. It's very character driven. These people that are wrestling with their like inner demons in a way. Yeah. So, anyways, that one's underrated.
Yes, absolutely. But as far as I go, for underrated, I also want to answer this question. Um, Compared to this director's filmography, like I never hear this one mentioned. For Steven Spielberg, Catch Me If You Can. Like I never hear that one
Yes.
mentioned out of like the best Steven Spielberg movies. Like I never hear that one because Catch Me If You Can is my favorite Steven Spielberg movie. Like it's so good, so rewatchable, and it's so funny too. Like I can't say enough good about that movie. I love Catch Me If You Can.
Yes, I love that too. And I think another underrated Spielberg movie is Minority Report.
Yes, I love that movie. I love Minority Report.
Yeah. So Spielberg, dude, I would have to like really think hard, and I'm not gonna do it right now, if I like had to pick a favorite Spielberg movie because he's so consistent, but each one has something different to offer, you know?
Yeah,
And yeah, so it's hard for me to like narrow down, oh, this one would be my number one pick kind of thing. So
definitely. Um,
oh yeah, your go-to cruise movie.
let's see. Go. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, Minority Report's great for sure. It's not my favorite Tom Cruise movie, but it's definitely like I'd say top 10, top 5 personally.
If you so taking out the Mission Impossible movies, Luke, what would be your favorite Tom Cruise movie outside of the Mission Impossible franchise?
Top Gun Maverick.
Okay. That yes, I liked Maverick more than the original Top Gun. Actually, in terms of an overrated movie, hot take, I feel like the original Top Gun is overrated for me. It just I was expecting more from it. But you know, it's one of those. I think it's just because with how much action has evolved since Top Gun was made, it just underwhelmed me whenever I saw it. So
That's fair. I have a soft spot for the first film though. That's my
okay.
dad's favorite movie.
Okay.
So, and he introduced it to me when I was a kid. So that's why I have a soft spot for it. I mean, but I can't deny Maverick is light years better for sure. Like light years better. Oh, Prince brings up a good one. American Made.
I
Very
haven't seen American Made.
so underrated. But like I think that might be Tom Cruise's most underrated movie, honestly. I think it might be.
So in terms of because he's made so many good ones, I'm trying to think because there's so many roles that I mean the dude's had an awesome career for sure. I'd
Yeah.
say like in terms of maybe like an underrated performance, I really liked his performance in Collateral.
Yes.
That was a good performance. So
Yeah, I mean, it's not typical Tom Cruise. Like that's the thing I love most about it. It's not the same Tom Cruise, you know. He's a hitman. So
well, and speaking of maybe Tom Cruise's, it's both underrated but also iconic is his role in Tropic Thunder. Amazing. Like pure gold. Like everyone was shocked when the credits started rolling that it was Tom Cruise. So yeah. That's one of those scenes that like if you're not gonna rewatch the whole movie of Tropic Thunder, it's hilarious just to go on YouTube and watch just his scenes as the producer guy.
oh, come on, Jenabeth. Now you want me to rewatch Tropic Thunder now.
Oh man. Okay, so like Tropic Thunder, it's one of those last comedies that was that like pushed the boundaries because we're all aware of how comedies now are very sensitive to our sensitive culture. So we don't really
Yeah.
get the comedies that push buttons, that push boundaries much anymore. And that one was just like, it was hilarious because it pushed the boundaries. And we don't really see stuff like that anymore. So that's why it's like, for me, it's one of my favorite comedies just because it's so hilarious in that sense.
Yeah, you're definitely right. It's oh my god, that movie's too funny. Like the scene when Steve Coogan just steps on a landmine, like like he doesn't even notice it until he looks down and it's like, oh, boom. I die laughing every time.
Yes, that's one that I just have fun with. Like, it's one of those, like, if I met someone that hadn't seen it, I'd be like, come to my apartment, we'll make some popcorn, we'll put on Tropic Thunder.
That's yeah. But speaking of comedies, what are some of like your favorite comedies of all time?
So growing up, and I would probably say it still stands as one of my favorite comedies, is Airplane from the 1980s. It's, I mean, it's a spoof movie on disaster films. But other spoof movies after it just they weren't able to capture the same magic. But the thing that makes Airplane so funny is like it's very slapstick for sure. It's like this slapstick comedy, but it's also sincere. Like it actually has a plot line and a romance and these characters that you grow to care about. So although it is trying to make fun of the disaster genre, they also put in some emotional depth in there as well. And I think it's like a good balance because there's just so many, like, it's purposefully over the top, and that's what makes it hilarious. So,
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. Like, hasn't really been a spoof movie that has captured the magic of Airplane. Like, I mean, closest one I can really think of is honestly the original Naked Gun with Leslie Nielsen. Like, that's one of the only ones I can really think of because that movie is hilarious. I mean, I like the sequels as well, but they're nowhere near as good as the first film. But then when you go to like the 2000s spoof movies, like when you start with like Scary Movie, like the first two, like no, actually no, I'll take that back. The first three movies I think are all hilarious. But when you get to stuff like Date Movie, Scary Movie 4, Scary Movie 5, Disaster Movie, Epic Movie, Meet the Spartans, it's like we have really lost our way.
Like, I mean, they're just inherently just bad.
They're just like, it feels like the writers of those movies are just convinced that the funniest humor out, like on the planet is toilet humor. And I'm like, that can be funny if you execute it right. But it's just overblown with those movies.
Yes.
So
another probably modern, a modern comedy that I love is Spy with Melissa McCarthy. And speaking of deadpan comedy in that movie, Jason Statham's deadpan comedy in that movie is like hilarious. Like the dialogue that he says is so absurd, but it's his deadpan delivery that is so hilarious with it. So
that's what Jason Statham is good at, is deadpan delivery with a lot of his, like, his jokes. I mean, like you said, especially in Spy, like he's the reason, like, I think that's the reason why the film is so freaking funny. I mean, I'm not like the biggest Melissa McCarthy fan. I mean, she is funny. She just hasn't been funny in the recent stuff that she's been in. Like, she hasn't been getting like the right comedy that is funny.
Yeah.
Like, when you think of Melissa McCarthy, you think Bridesmaids, you think The Heat, you think Spy, the best one she's been in. Like, but then when you think of stuff like, Tammy or Thunder Force, it's like, you've lost your way. Like, this is where it's like, no. or the Jerry Seinfeld comedy that came out last year. I don't remember it at all. I know it was about like the Pop Tarts or whatever. I don't care because that movie's awful. Again, I think she's funny. It's just she hasn't been given the right material.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with that. I feel like there's like a few comedic actresses that kind of fall in that same realm. Like I think of Rebel Wilson, for example, as well. Like she had, I mean, I feel like Pitch Perfect and Bridesmaids, and I can't really think of other like iconic or big roles that she's been in lately that are just like memorable. So, anyways, I'm sure there's a lot of actors that fall into that category.
yeah, I mean, there's definitely people that do, but whenever I think of like one comedian where it's like she was funny in one movie, that was it. Um, the one person I think of is Amy Schumer. I do not think she's funny at all.
Yeah, I can see that. There was that, yeah, the one that I enjoyed, and I thought it had like Bill Hader in it.
Trainwreck.
Trainwreck. Okay, I enjoyed Trainwreck, but
Like
yeah,
that was the
after
only one I
that,
thought she was funny in.
right?
Like everything else she's been in, like Snatched, I Feel Pretty. She was also in the Pop Tart movie that Jerry Seinfeld did, and that Kind of Pregnant, the Netflix movie that she did, where it's directed by Adam Sandler's nephew. No,
Right.
no.
So that's going back to the movie that I heard was bad that I was like, probably not going to waste my time. That was one of them. I was like, probably not going to watch it. I believe you whenever you say it, probably not going to watch it. So,
Oh my god. Like her character in that film is the most like unlikable character like I've seen this entire year. Like,
well, yeah.
because I mean, you look at the title. It says it's called Kinda Pregnant. She wears a fake belly just to try to get sympathy, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So,
Well, speaking of comedies, Luke, what are your favorite comedies?
oh, okay. My favorite comedy of all time is Ghostbusters. The original Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that remake. That movie is kind of dog shit. Look, I'm not trying to be rude about it, but I just don't think that movie's funny. I will say Leslie Jones had a few good laughs in that one, and Chris Hemsworth I thought was the best part.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that movie is really that funny. It didn't capture the right vibes of Ghostbusters. Like what made those films so good back when they came out in the 80s.
Yeah, I thought it was mid whenever I saw it. I didn't think it was amazing. I didn't think it was bad. It was just pretty middle of the road.
It's middle of the road. I mean, like I said, it has some really funny moments, but it's just not what I go to as a Ghostbusters fan. So
yeah.
Another one of my favorite comedies is My Cousin Vinny.
Okay, so that is on my ongoing list of movies that I haven't seen. So,
oh my god, that is one of the funniest movies I honestly I've ever seen. It's so freaking funny.
what's the like premise of it without spoiling it?
So basically, these people are being put on trial. They're mistakenly arrested, and they need their cousin, played by Joe Pesci, to get them off. So I can't really go any further than that.
That's a fun premise though, because like their cousin is trying to get them out of prison. Or
yeah, because
going to prison. Or so is he like a fake lawyer or something?
No, Vinny's actually a lawyer. It's just
he is a lawyer. Okay.
But this you got to listen to this cast right here. You got, of course, like I said, Joe Pesci, Ralph Macchio, Marissa Tomei, and Fred Gwynn.
Okay.
Like, oh man, I love My Cousin Vinny. We see some other ones that like are like huge standouts in the comedy realm for me. Trying to think of a good one. I'm literally looking through my favorite movies list to figure that out. Let's see. One of them is Sex Drive.
I don't think I've seen it.
So basically, Josh Zuckerman plays this pretty dorky guy that talks to this girl online, and basically he gets an offer from her to meet her. I think it's down in Tennessee, I think. To basically lose his virginity. So basically, it's basically like a road trip comedy.
Yeah, and the thing with like comedies is it's so broad in terms of there's movies that like you would think, for example, The Hangover is more of a comedy than Pitch Perfect. But Pitch Perfect, it's still a comedy, but it's kind of like a college, it mixes in the college teen drama with the comedy. So it's kind of a dramedy in a way, where there's other movies that are like, this is a comedy, like Dumb and Dumber or something, you know? So anyways, there's those kind of things too.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber is definitely another one of those.
I love Dumb and Dumber.
Let's see. I could list off like a bunch of Jim Carrey movies. I mean, when it comes to actors where it's like it's impossible to make me hate him, Jim Carrey is one of those people. Like, you can't make me hate Jim Carrey. Like, let's see it. Like you got Ace Ventura. Love those movies. Liar Liar.
I have not seen Liar Liar in years.
Oh my God.
It's been years. So
I love Liar Liar. The Mask. The Mask is one of my favorites. Like we already said, Dumb and Dumber. Trying to think of a good one. Cable Guy.
Haven't seen Cable Guy.
I love Cable Guy. But if we're thinking like iconic, also besides Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, Liar Liar, Ace Ventura, The Grinch. I love him as the Grinch.
He's one of those actors that's like, I truly think he's one of the best of his generation, because you've seen him in really serious roles. But then he does comedy so well. And then he can also immerse himself in these totally different characters, such as the Grinch or and I haven't seen the Sonic movies, but I've seen the trailers of like his villain in the Sonic movies. And it's just like he's just got so much range. Like, what a career.
I love him as Dr. Robotnik. Like he's easily the bright spot of all three movies. I mean, you're also talking to somebody who loves all three movies. I love those movies. But Jim Carrey just makes those movies better because of his comedic timing, especially in the third one where he's playing two different Robotniks. The main Robotnik that you've seen in the first two films, Ivo, and then his grandfather Gerald. It's so goofy, but it's so freaking funny at the same time. But if people say like he's so over the top in those movies, it's like, I'll give you two things. This is Jim Carrey. What do you expect? It's Jim Carrey. And secondly, think of the source material. Because Dr. Robotnik is not like, I'm putting it in a way that Chris Stuckman put it when he reviewed the first Sonic movie. Dr. Robotnik is in no way a quiet person that just sits in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
So
would you say, like, so out of all of Jim Carrey's films, what would be your favorite?
I think I'm gonna go with The Mask.
Yeah.
Like pure comedy gold for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like pure comedy gold. Like I love him so much in The Mask. I mean, I just love Jim Carrey in general. So
yeah. Is he your favorite actor?
No, there's a lot, like he's definitely one of them, but there's like a lot of like other actors that I would probably put above him. Like Ewan McGregor is one of them. I love that man so much. Tom Cruise, Michael Keaton is one of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, because of Sinners, I gotta go Michael B. Jordan.
He is underrated.
Very.
He's so good, but and I think it's kind of one of those situations, like he's also, just from my female perspective, a very handsome man, you know? And it's like you would think, oh, because he's so good looking and all this stuff, like you think him as an actor doesn't have the chops, but he does. Like he's so good. And I think Sinners, to date, has been his best role in terms of how he played the twin brothers, but they're separate characters. So I thought it was his best performance, and he's had a lot of good ones. I'll be curious, like later on down the road, just to see how his career evolves. I can like see him down the road, like eventually getting an Oscar for something. He's just really good.
For sure. Drew brought up a good one. Tom Hardy and Hugh Jackman. Good. Those are good choices. Let's see. I got to think of like other ones like off the top of my head.
I love Hugh Jackman. So he's an actor that I'm also like, dude, how do you do this? So he's ripped Wolverine. So he plays like, so he can do like this action hero. But then he can also be like so serious. But then the dude can also sing. Like he's in Les Mis and The Greatest Showman. And I'm just like, dude, like what can you not do? Like
absolutely.
Like yeah. So anyways, he's just really impressive.
For sure. That's a great pick. I love Hugh Jackman. Ethan Hawke's another one. We talked about Ethan Hawke a little bit. I'm trying to think of like
Joaquin Phoenix in the comments. See that from
Joaquin Phoenix.
Drew, yeah.
I love Joaquin Phoenix. I just wish that they didn't deal the cards that they gave him in Joker Folie à Deux.
I once again one of those that I didn't see because I heard it wasn't great. But
it was Jenabeth, you're not missing much. It's horrible. Like, so by this point, do you really care if I spoil that movie?
No, and I'm pretty sure I probably watched a recap that I forgot about.
So yeah, so basically what they try to do with this movie, like they try to like blend in a goofy dreamlike musical, which is a cool idea. Like, but what would have made it better if you wanted to go the musical route, make it be a full-fledged musical. It would have been better that way. Okay. And but they're also trying to blend in a courtroom drama with the Joker at the helm, which there's some great scenes, there's some good moments in there. And I think that Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix and Brendan Gleeson, in my opinion, were the best performers in the movie. Like, and also it's a really good looking movie. Like that is literally where my positives end.
Right.
Because the ending to the film is one of the worst endings I've ever seen.
Oh man.
You said you don't care that I spoil it though, right?
Nope.
They kill off the Joker at the end. They kill him off.
What in the world?
They killed him off, and I was like, no. Like, movie, you don't get a pass for that. You don't get a pass for that. And
that's such an odd choice.
But the weirdest thing is, it's not even Harley Quinn that kills him off, or like his friend or something like that. Like you remember that, like his friend from the first Joker, like he doesn't even kill him. It's a random guy that was in prison with him. Just a random guy.
Oh, that's so unsatisfying. I think it's controversial for one, to kill off the character of the Joker in his own movie. Regardless, yeah, sure, maybe you're not going to make a sequel. You're not going to make a Joker 3, but part of the lore of it is how he eventually becomes the villain that he is. So why kill him off? But then number 2, like you said, if you're going to kill him off, then why have it cheapened with some side character that wasn't integral to the story at all? So yeah,
it's not even it wasn't even that he wasn't integral to the story. You barely even see this guy. You see this guy for like you 1 second in the movie. And he goes up to Arthur. He's like, "Hi, Arthur." He like says a couple things and then stabs him. And then I'm like,
"Oh my god!"
And I'm like, "You, Todd Phillips, like I respect your ambition for doing that, but why would you do that? You just insulted my intelligence."
Would you rank that, like, out of the movies that you've seen, the worst ending? I'm like trying to think to myself, like, what are movies that's like maybe I liked it or tolerated it, but I hated this ending? And granted, there's the movies that they purposefully have an ending on a note that's not happy, but it's part of the movie, right? Versus like it's not really a good movie, but it just had the worst ending, and you're just like, what just happened? Anyway, I can't really think of anything to that caliber off the top of my head.
Yeah, but like, I'm trying to think of one where it's like the ending like destroyed it. Like it didn't make the film like horrible, but the ending was like, no. Let's see. I could maybe say a couple of M. Night Shyamalan movies where it's like the ending honestly kind of destroyed it. Oh wait, the one I typically think of where it's like for an M. Night Shyamalan movie where it's like the ending absolutely destroyed the movie is The Village. Like that ending destroyed that movie.
So I have seen the Village, and it's been years, and what I recall is, you know, she like escapes and realizes that their like village is kind of like a cult sort of in the modern world, and they were just trying to make a facade, and that's what I remember. But what's the actual ending of it? Because is that how it ends, or is it beyond that? Because I haven't seen it in years.
I don't remember the ending either.
So like maybe that's why it's like in your mind it was a bad ending, because I don't even like remember it, but you just remember being disappointed.
Like the moment I was watching it, I was like, nope. Like, I don't hate The Village. I think everything leading up to the ending I actually think is really good. It's just the ending destroyed the movie for me.
Okay.
So
yep. Yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head that leans into that. But in terms of a movie that like it purposefully has a sad ending, is The Mist, and how that just has a like that's sad, but it's meant to be like that, and it's memorable, and that's what makes it good. But yeah, so
like that's one of those like really sad endings where it's like, you I'm talking about like the director Frank Darabont, the guy that directed it. I was like, Mr. Darabont, you got balls, sir, for doing that, because that ending was so bleak. Like,
yes,
I was like for any of you that have not seen The Mist, I'm not going to spoil what happens, because I want you guys to watch it for yourself. But when the moment happens, when the moment happens and then something else happens, I'm like, oh no, what? No. Like, oh my goodness. Like, it got me good. So
and this kind of sort of ties into current movie news-ish. So as you know, this weekend we have Final Destination Bloodlines coming out. And like I've said, I'm not really like a horror movie person, but I have seen the first 3 Final Destination films. I haven't seen the 4th and the 5th one. But in terms of a ending that I thought was an abrupt ending, specifically in the 3rd movie, and I can't remember the actress's name, but she's in like Scott Pilgrim.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Right. So I thought she was a great lead protagonist, but and we'll go into spoilers here with it. I mean, it's Final Destination, right? Everybody
Right.
dies. That is part of the premise. It's not a shock. Anyway, with how she dies at the end, she's like on a train and she has a premonition like, oh, we're gonna get hit by, or like this train's gonna crash, or and she's on the train. Anyway, essentially just like leading up to that ending, I just thought it was just out of nowhere to me. It just felt like so abrupt, like they didn't it wasn't a clean ending compared to some of the other ones. So anyways, that kind of sort of sticks out as not a very strong ending to me. So
I get that for sure. Like there are just movies out there where it's like they just end too quickly, and it's like, wait, like I'm trying to think of like one. Oh yeah, I know the one off the top of my head where it's like that ended way too quickly. Did you see Challengers from last year?
I actually did not. My sister did. I wasn't sure if I would like it as much. She was saying, I don't know if you would like it. But
that movie ended abruptly, and I like when the screen cut to black and then it had the title card come up, or I think it would say directed by Luca Guadagnino. I was like, wait, that's it? So that kind of got me. But
yeah.
But speaking on like Final Destination type, have you heard of this movie that came out this year called The Monkey?
Yes, I've heard of it, but I have not seen it.
That movie's hilarious to me. Like that movie's hilarious.
Is it a comedy?
So
or is it so bad it's funny?
Okay, I need to kind of put it in a way where it makes it easier to understand. The Monkey is a horror comedy. Like
okay, yeah.
So but the kills, as over the top as they may be, they're meant to make you laugh. Like
okay.
Because throughout most of the kills in that film, I was laughing my ass off because they were so ridiculous, but yet so funny. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, I'm not spoiling anything when I say this because they're given in the trailer. Like, not all of them are, to be clear. A couple of them are given in the trailer. The one distinctly where it's like, I can't help but hold back my laughter, or can't help holding back. Jeez. I can't help but laugh. There we go. That's the phrase I was looking for. Was this scene when Theo James and this realtor find this, like, go to this closet door, and once she opens it, a shotgun falls and basically makes her explode.
Oh my god. And I'm sure I'm sure that was like bloody and over the top.
Very. But like that's what makes it funny.
Yeah, a movie that like that premise reminds me of that I really enjoyed is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. With it's like a horror comedy, and there's so much physical comedy in that's just hilarious, and it's like gory, but it's actually funny. So
that's another one where it's like the gore is supposed to make you laugh because because the kills are just so abundant and out of nowhere, but you don't even feel bad for laughing. Like distinctly the one kill when the kid tries to rush up on Tucker and instead dives himself headfirst into a wood chipper.
Yes, it's so funny. Like, yeah, that's another one that it's like if you can handle gore and we're in the mood for like a comedy, that's also a fun one just to put on for laughs.
Yeah, like Tucker and Dale versus Evil and The Monkey are the ones where it's like they definitely fit into that bill because The Monkey is very over the top with its gore because I told you that one kill because it's given in the trailer. They don't show like how she explodes, but you can kind of guess where that goes if you really think about it. Yeah. So, but my God, like it was so crazy when I watched it. I was just like, I can't believe what I'm seeing, but I love it. Like, because I just really love Osgood Perkins's really sick sense of humor. Like, the gore is basically the sense of humor that he's going for with those kills. So I can't describe it any better way than that, because, like I said, the gore, it's supposed to make you laugh.
Yeah. Good to know.
But I am going to say, though, that third act will divide people, because that third act, it was a little rocky there for me. It was a little rocky, but I don't know. That's just my take on it. But if you ever get around to watching it, though, I would recommend it.
Oh, yeah. With the ongoing list, what are some, I mean, because clearly you've seen a lot of movies. You have a very vast media collection. Like, what's an iconic movie that you have not seen? That you're like, oh, that's on my list. Still haven't seen it.
Ones I can think of, Rebel Without a Cause, and Weird Science are very iconic movies. I have not seen either one. Driving Miss Daisy is another one. Yeah, like, even though I have a really big collection, I still have a huge watch list. So, I'm trying to think of like other ones that really come to my mind where it's like, these are movies that I know a lot of people do talk about, but I just haven't gotten around to watching them. Trying to figure that out here, because I'm just looking through my watch list to see what I can come up with. Oh man. Because like those are like the ones I just listed are really the ones that really come to my mind. So let's see. I think this is a popular one, but I'm not 100% sure. But I know this film was talked about back in the 90s. Get Shorty.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. I also haven't seen it. Out of the ones that you've listed, the only one that I have seen is Weird Science. And it's
I have not seen that.
I don't think you would rank it though as high as some other 80s comedies.
Probably not, but I don't know. I mean, like, I love John Hughes comedies.
I mean, if you're gonna choose between Weird Science and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you definitely would go with Ferris Bueller.
I mean, that's kind of obvious at this point. Because I grew up watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I mean, I think there were times where I think I might have watched it too young, but who cares? Like, let's see. Again, still just looking through my watch list because, again, I have a big list full. Dun 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 dun. My God. Again, still just trying to. Oh, I think this might be one for artsy film, for definitely artsy film fans. Inherent Vice, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson.
There's like actually a lot of like best pictures and stuff that I haven't seen, and it's one of those things like, as a film fan, like I love to see any type of story, but we all have our preferences, right? Like I'm a sucker for like an action adventure. If it has some romance in it, that's like definitely plus. I love some comedy sprinkled in. So essentially kind of like a typical like popcorn movie that is the generic mainstream stuff. That's usually my kind of film. But like there's plenty of like best pictures, that it's like I still haven't seen Anora. There's like there's like a lot of those artsy type films that are on my list that I haven't seen.
I get it though. Like there's definitely like there's like a balance for like what our forte is for movies, and it's like I get that. Again, I can't. I feel like I really hit the good ones though that I could think of, because there's not really much else I can really see going down my list.
I mean, that's honestly impressive, Luke, that you've seen like so many already that you're like, I've kind of seen all of the big iconic ones. I have a very large list of iconic movies that I haven't seen. Hence why I'm like, hey, if you guys want to like follow me, then I'll probably end up talking about these iconic movies that I haven't seen. And you can hear what I think, like seeing it for the first time all these years later. My little weenie dog wants to come up on my chair. Zoe. Oh, hold on. Here's my weenie dog, Zoe.
Oh,
he's making her live stream appearance. Zoe, you're on
Zoe.
live. You're on the
Hey,
live
Zoe.
stream. Your first live stream.
Oh my God.
I know. She's my little movie cuddler.
Oh. I love dogs. I really do.
Do you have a dog?
I have one at my parents' house, but I like there'll be times where I get to see my dog, but he's down at my parents' house. So he's a Shih Tzu.
Oh my gosh. So I grew up with Shih Tzus. So I have a soft spot for them. I got Zoe as like from a friend because she had a baby and I was like, I can't handle her kind of thing. So now I'm like a dachshund person, but yes, I grew up with Shih Tzus. They're such sweet. Oh, and they're so cute. I love a lap dog.
Yes. So. Yeah, I think I might have hit the nail right on the head with a lot of these. This is Spinal Tap is a pretty big one. I have not watched that yet. I know there's a sequel coming out, but I've not seen that original. Yeah, there's a lot I could name, but it's like they're not like huge movies. Like
yeah.
But I think I got what I could name because again, there's still a lot of other films besides the ones I just listed I still want to watch and I think I should watch, but nothing on that level for like, Rebel Without a Cause or Weird Science.
Mm-hmm.
So
like how many movies do you have in your collection? Are they DVDs?
They're all it's a combination of Blu-ray and 4K.
Okay. So do you know how many you have?
It's such a crazy amount that I have that it might make your jaw drop. I literally have over 2,100.
Wow. That is so crazy. So are they all on the shelves or do you have some that are like in boxes that are not being on like displayed on a shelf? So
most of like the single cased ones are on my shelf over here. But like the box sets like up here, like my Back to the Future set or my my Friday the 13th set. Those are all those are ones that I have to keep displayed up on the shelf because I do not have much room left on these shelves. So, but I shocked myself even with that I own that many.
Did you count them whenever, like, at what point did you actually count how many that you had? Was it whenever you moved into your new place or like, did you already know?
I keep like a list on Letterboxd of movies that of the movies that I own. Like I keep them all like on a list so that way
so
I know how many.
That's easier to keep track of then. Okay.
Because if I were to count how many I have, like just like like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that, I probably would have fallen asleep by the time I got to 1,000.
Right. I mean, your apartment is like a little mini Blockbuster, which is super cool. Like somebody could just walk in and like close their eyes and find a little gem that they hadn't seen before.
I mean, I had my best friend come over recently, and he saw my collection, and he kind of went crazy over the ones that we watched together, like in the movie theater. Like, I'm trying to think of like one. Um, like what's like one that like really comes to on my head with that. Like Saw X, we saw that one together. Um, let's see. Sonic 3, we saw that together. Like we basically see a lot of the stuff together, but there are some where it's like he doesn't feel like going to them because he doesn't have interest or he has something going on. The one that he didn't want to go to with me because he had no interest was The Amateur. And when I walked out of it, I was like, you saved yourself 2 hours. Because it wasn't that great.
So if you were going to go to like a favorite things party, so I have been to one of these, well, I think I've only went maybe to a favorite thing girls party, essentially like maybe twice. The premise of it is it's like a gift exchange, and you bring your favorite thing of something, and I forget how the gift how the gift exchange is done, but you end up giving someone like, oh, this is my favorite thing. I like the smell of this kind of candle or whatever. So let's say you are going to give someone the Luke Ponto movie package favorite things. It's going to have your favorite movie candy and your favorite movie on a DVD, and you're giving that to someone. What would be your picks to a favorite things party?
Okay. So my go-to, I mean, I can't say popcorn when it comes to movie snacks because that's the most obvious thing.
Right.
I can't say popcorn.
And I'm a sucker for some popcorn. Some movie popcorn. So good.
Chef's kiss. But I think if I have to pick mine, I think it's kind of a tie, to be completely honest. It's either between Mike and Ike's or Skittles when it comes to movie snacks. Movie on DVD though, like I could give you like 5 movies off the top of my head that I would do like as like a gift exchange. Like Train Spotting, which if people don't know is my favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
The original Hellraiser from 1987, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, the original The Crow, and then John Carpenter's The Thing.
Okay.
Yeah, like those are like the ones like off the top of my head that I could be like, I could put those in like a little gift exchange box. So, yeah.
I like those. Those are good picks. I like that.
So, yeah. So yeah, those are the ones I would go for. I was trying to think of that for a second. Because also if you guys saw my my apartment tour, I did buy myself a 4K player. There's been other ones I've been wanting to test. The main one I wanted to test is Nosferatu, because I bet you that movie would look gorgeous in 4K. Like, I saw that movie in the theaters 3 times, and I can never get enough of that movie for some reason. I can't.
I've heard amazing things about it. I think it came out like in December or something. I haven't seen it yet though, so
it definitely leans more into like the gothic side of this story.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not like a typical like horror flick. It's more of like a gothic horror side.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also I just love vampire movies. So like I think that's my favorite subgenre now because of Sinners.
Yeah. What would be your favorite vampire movie out of the subgenre?
It's Nosferatu.
Yeah.
I've gone back to watch that. I feel like at this point it's just going to be countless times, but as of now, as I'm sitting here talking to you, I've seen that movie now 7 times.
Oh, like, yeah, that's impressive.
Like, it's that good to me to a point where it's like every time I watch it, it's like it gets better to me. So I got to go with that one. There's Sinners is another one I'm going to add to the docket. The Lost Boys. I gotta love Lost Boys. From Dusk Till Dawn. The original 1920s Nosferatu is a great one. Bram Stoker's Dracula, even though it's technically Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, but I call it by Bram Stoker's Dracula, not to get it confused with Dracula or any of the other ones.
Okay, yeah.
So that's another one. I just watched this one for the first time recently. Interview with the Vampire. Speaking of Tom Cruise.
Yes, I need to rewatch that. It's been a couple of years, and I know Kirsten Dunst does an impressive performance as a little girl, and Tom Cruise once again just has range. So.
Love him as Lestat. I think Lestat the Vampire. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
30 Days of Night is another really good one. That's the one where Josh Hartnett is in that one. I think he plays as the sheriff in that movie. I really enjoy 30 Days of Night. There's so many good ones I could name, but it's like a long list at this point.
Right.
Daybreakers. Let's see. Yeah, Daybreakers. John Carpenter's Vampires. And I'll go another recent one. I'm gonna go Abigail.
Yeah. So many of those I have not seen because once again, like I said, not huge into the horror genres, but I did like Sinners. I feel like I would need to Google vampire movies and pick out the ones that I have seen. Now, me being a typical B nostalgia girly, obviously I've seen all of the Twilight films, and it's polarizing with there's the people are oh my gosh, it's so bad, and then and then other people are okay, it may not be the best quality, but they're still good in their own way, and I'm in that camp. I don't think they're terrible, they have their flaws, but for me, because it's nostalgic, I read all the books back in high school, and I was on Team Edward back in the day. So anyways, probably because of the nostalgia factor, Twilight would be high up there for me. But I know for the people that are film critic or whatever, it's okay, I'm not going to try to make a huge case with is it better than Nosferatu kind of thing. But is it entertaining and nostalgic? Yes.
There's definitely entertaining moments in those movies. I'll say that for sure. I mean, I don't really care for those movies per se, but there's entertaining moments in each one. I'll give it credit for that, except for Breaking Dawn Part 1. I think that film is boring as hell.
It's one of those I think and I think Twilight, because the I think was in the fourth book, it was a very long book, so I could see how they broke it into 2 parts kind of thing. But most of the time it's you don't need to drag it out. With the Hunger Games, what was supposed to be a trilogy, they made Mockingjay Part 1 and 2. It's come on. You didn't need to make that into 2 parts. It could have just been one movie and it would have been better. The third movie could have just been one movie. Anyways, that's just a little soapbox. They were just really into, at one point, making these movies that were drug out more than they needed to be.
It was that one, and let me see. It was Twilight and Harry Potter that kind of started that trend of Part 1, Part 2 is splitting the last book into 2 parts, and it's and I think the one that honestly did it best is Harry Potter, because it's Part 1, as that one might drag out, it's still really freaking good. But Part 2, concludes all of it, and it's even better. When you watch it, it's so good. So that might just be me, but.
And I think it was the Divergent series that the last one didn't even get made. And it's Was that supposed to be the third one? I can't remember. They made 2 Divergent movies, I thought. And I thought that
They did do
third
3.
one, so they did 3, but they didn't make the final film. There was supposed to be like one more or something, and they didn't make it for various reasons, like production stuff. But it was another one of those that it's like, could that had just been like part of the original movie? I mean, like the previous movie, instead of trying to be like a whole other installment. So
yeah, that's a different story. That's another story for another time. My buddy Dell's like, sorry, sparkly vampires didn't work at all for me.
I get it.
Totally fair.
Twilight's an acquired taste, and I'd say for like millennial Gen Z girlies like me, you'd find a soft spot for that. But I could see how there's the other opposite end of like the Twilight movies just don't do it for me. I will admit there are plot beats in there that you're like, that doesn't make sense. Why would Bella even be with a guy like him? Blah, blah, blah. I get it. Is it still a nostalgic fun time? Do I watch it? Will I try to watch a Twilight movie like once a fall just for the sake of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun in that sense. The comment with Breaking Dawn Part 2, that whole entire battle sequence, what turned out to just be a dream, was one of the biggest audience booing moments I've ever seen when I saw that in theaters. And then Ara's laugh. Yeah, it was so cringe. It was so cringe.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
So as someone that read the books, though, that battle sequence started happening, and I was like thinking, I don't remember this. Like, did I recall something like not happening? And then realizing later, oh, it was all a facade of what could happen. I was like, oh yeah, that was just for the theatrics. It was just for the popcorn eaters. It wasn't like, part of the book. It was for like the movie truly. And so I was like, okay, it's still entertaining though. But as someone that was familiar with the source material, which for me is rare, I'm usually a film goer that doesn't read the book. I was like, anyway.
Yeah. I'm definitely one of those people too. Like, I don't usually read the book. Unless I watch the movie and it's like, I want to actually read the book. Like, the one that particular I can think of that I read the book after I watched the movie was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I actually read the book. And I thought the book was actually pretty accurate to the movie.
Okay.
Because there, you know what it's gonna be like with a lot of like book to movie adaptations. Like, you read the book, and then it's like they changed up so much, and it's like, how about just actually adapt the book? Like, I don't know. That might just be me. Because
yeah, I'm in a similar boat with the Hunger Games. So I saw the movies first, and then I read the books, and they're good books. But I have not read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and probably won't. But I did see the movie last year when it came out, and I thought it was good. My sister, though, got the most recent installment of the Hunger Games franchise, which is Sunrise on the Reaping. And she loaned it to me. So I am currently reading that, and it will be one of the few books that I have read before the movie comes out. I think it's coming out maybe in the next year or two. I think they are in casting or something right now. But anyway, I'll be excited whenever that comes out. I actually do enjoy the Hunger Games franchise. It's one of my favorites.
I enjoy those movies too, for sure. I mean, I enjoy all of them. I mean, Mockingjay Part 1, little iffy on, but
yeah,
still,
didn't need to be a two-parter.
But I liked Part 2, but they made the biggest mistake in that movie. Like, having the whole war happen while Katniss is knocked out.
Oh,
that was a huge mistake. Like, so, but I really, really enjoyed Songbirds and Snakes. I think that was a really nice return to form for the franchise.
I agree. Yeah.
I honestly thought the ending, at least in my opinion, was a tad bit rushed. Like, it kind of felt like they were just like, it's like copying off the book, and it's like, oh no, we don't like that. Let's do this way. And I'm like, you're missing something here. You kind of just rushed it to a point where it's like, oh yeah, now he's actually President Snow, and I'm like, you rush through that in the script. I can kind of tell.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. And granted, as somebody that has not read the book, my sister did read it, and she was saying that the book, and as with all books, right, it does a better job of showing how his mind evolves into being the villain that he is. But even so, if you're watching Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes as just a film goer, whether or not you've read the books or not, the ending of him, because like this is who is going to be President Snow. For me, I didn't buy that he went from being this guy that kind of did have a heart, that kind of did care for people, to being this like total opposite menace. I didn't buy the transformation completely at the end. And maybe it's because he needs more years to cultivate who he eventually becomes, like in the original Hunger Games. But yeah, I just didn't totally buy it. So I agree how with it kind of felt a bit rushed at the end. So
yeah, but speaking on like book to movie adaptations, there's like one book out there for like a movie from this year that I absolutely adore, that I actually want to read the book to see like how it was changed a little bit. Because if you're like, because I know you did review Mickey 17, the book was called Mickey 7. So, but Bong Joon-ho did say that he wanted to, he said that basically he wanted to do it as a way of like where Mickey dies 10 more times than what it did say. And I'm like, and the way that they executed in the movie, I actually thought was really funny. Like,
with Mickey 17, I thought it was a great premise. I definitely found the first 2 acts the most compelling in that movie, and the third act for me is where it dipped. But still like entertaining. It was a good sci-fi film. I mean, it wasn't super straightforward. It's a bit messy with some of its plot threads, but it's still a good time.
Yeah, it also is definitely one of those films like kind of would ask for a second viewing to kind of help you keep on track with the story beats and how they like, intertwine each one. Because it's like after Mickey finds out that he is multiples, that's kind of where the film actually starts to, kind of throw you off a little bit. Because it's like, I mean, yes, I know he survived it, but like at the same time, it's like you don't know like exactly like what you're trying to follow here. So, but actually, no. Within the first 30 minutes, like is actually what I was trying to say, because there's a lot of narration within the first 30 minutes. But it made sense to me like after I watched it the second time. So, oh, here's a good one. Holes.
Yes.
I love that. I
have not read the book, but it seems like Michael probably has. I do love the movie Holes. And in Shia LaBeouf, he's been in and out of movies lately, and I know he still acts, but he's kind of doing kind of like these indie roles, sort of like, so I just don't see him in like big projects. But that's one of my favorite films that he's been in, Shia LaBeouf. And also Holes, it's one of those things that Disney, and you know this, Luke, they are on this rabbit hole of the live action remakes, right now. But there was a point in time, like in those mid 2000s, like with Holes, that they were making these live action stories. And yeah, it was based off of a book or whatever, but they're not trying to take one of their 1990s animated films to turn it live action. Like they were trying to crank out like quote original movies. And I miss that. Disney needs to bring that back, but
like there's been a lot of like really good ones that I remember from my childhood, because like I remember there was like a phase in my life where I was collecting a bunch of Disney VHSs, Like I collected a lot of those as a kid. I'm trying to think of like ones like the live action ones predominantly. I'm trying to think of like a good one off the top of my head because there was a lot of good ones that I watched when I was growing up. Holes was definitely one of those.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of expanded because I would have to look because there's some that you're like, oh, that was a Disney movie, like like in the '90s, for example. I think of Homeward Bound or
That's a good one.
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
Um, like
Um, one that I watched multiple times growing up. Heavyweights.
I haven't seen it, but
Ben Stiller plays as a fitness trainer in that movie. Yeah. I think there was a reason why he was cast as the villain in Dodgeball. I think there was a reason for it. I think it's because of Heavyweights. Michael brought up a good one. Remember the Titans.
yeah, so that's one going back to there's films that Disney made that you don't remember as a Disney film. But it's like
Right.
that's one of them, and so anyway, they've kind of lost their groove with some of that. So
There's still other ones out there that I'm still like trying to think of. Oh, I know this one was based on a cartoon, but what about George of the Jungle with Brendan Fraser? Like,
oh yeah, that one's good.
oh, that like whenever I watch that film, the theme song just lives rent free in my head. Like, oh my god. Michael's bringing up the good ones here. Cool Runnings is another good one. Let's see. Queen of Katwe. I have not watched that yet. I do want to see it. I think that's a Spike Lee movie, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm trying to think of like other ones that really stuck out to me. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yes, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh my god.
Was Stuart Little a Disney movie?
No,
I can't remember.
It's not. It was released by Sony.
Oh, that makes sense.
Another good one, McFarland USA. I actually watched that in tech class when I was in middle school. That's a really solid movie. With Kevin Costner, where he basically plays as this cross country coach. Basically, he's coaching this like cross country team, high school team. It's a lot of like sports movies that you've seen before. You've seen it all before, but I think Kevin Costner's performance elevates it to me.
Okay.
So, like that's a good one. Again, there's a lot. Like I named off some good ones.
Yeah, I mean, I think that yeah, like I think we get some great projects now, but I read this comment. It must have been like on TikTok or something with how like movies back like in the 90s or 2000s and stuff, in a way, because streaming didn't exist, you were able to kind of sit with the movies longer and like rewatch them, and they mean something more to you. Versus now in this streaming era, there's just so much content. There's just one new thing after another that you aren't really put in a position of maybe rewatching something over and over again because you just have like a new thing come out every day. So
yeah, for sure. Like here's one, like this is not a Disney movie. Like this is a Nickelodeon one. I was more like a Nickelodeon kid growing up, to be fair. But
okay, yeah.
But the one that I always will go back to, no matter what, like when it comes to Nickelodeon movies, is Good Burger. Like I watched that film endlessly as a kid. It was I love Good Burger.
That's so fun.
I love that.
Well, we're probably gonna have to wrap up soon because it's kind of like getting late for me, and I'm gonna start like wrapping up my evening. But this was so fun, Luke.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Jenabeth, for coming on here. I really enjoyed getting to talk with you about film and kind of getting to know each other's taste a little bit. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, it was my first time doing a like content collab kind of thing. So, anyways, this was fun, and yeah, you clearly have a very impressive movie collection, and I'm glad I got to get some 2 cents from like a true horror fan of your recommendations and stuff. So,
but I was gonna give you one before we head off. There was one I was gonna give you for another horror film, like, but this is kind of a bit more of like a kind of a more contained thriller, I guess you could say. It's more of like a claustrophobic kind of thriller.
okay.
Another recent one. It's called Locked. It stars
Oh yeah, it's yeah, I think I saw the trailer. He's like trapped in a car, and then
Bill Skarsgård places this guy who
comes into the car.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I did see the trailer for that. I think. Yeah.
I'll tell you this about the film. It does take a little bit to get going, but
yeah,
once it gets going, it's intense. So
that's
like,
so cool.
It's really fun. So if you guys want to check out Jenabeth's content, follow her on Instagram, subscribe to her YouTube channel. Also go check her out on TikTok as well. Yeah, she's an awesome creator. She does some awesome movie reviews. So thank you once again for being here. I really enjoyed talking movies. And there's a couple other, let's say a couple more comments before we head off. Michael Ennedy said another one, the greatest game ever played. Another one with Shia LaBeouf.
Yes.
I did watch that one. Good movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either.
Directed. Oh, okay. I thought it was directed by Spike Lee. It seemed like a movie that was directed by Spike Lee to me. Stars David Oyelowo and Lupita Nyong'o. Cool. I'll have to check that out.
Lupita is so amazing. Like, she's so good.
Wild Robot, anybody?
Oh my gosh. It was my favorite film last year. So
if Nosferatu didn't come out last year, that would have been my number one.
Okay. Well, good, great minds think alike.
Yes. I'm just saying, if Nosferatu wasn't out last year, Wild Robot is like God tier.
It is so good.
I love it so much. But thank you, everybody, so much for coming into the chat. Once again, Jenabeth, thank you so much for being here. And we will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.